Sup guys, I'm Melanie Martinez. I'm doing 150 classic albums for the end of the year. I'm also doing Patreon requests. Sadly, no one's requested Cry Baby, but you guys have been absolutely insanely supportive on the Hades Melanie Martinez album, which I also plan to do the second one when that comes out at the near the end of the year. And I thought to go back and do Cry Baby, like try and update myself. I haven't really had Portals at all or K through 12. I remember listening to some songs off of Cry Baby on this project, and I remember enjoying them more than I enjoyed a lot of the songs of Hades, so I thought might as well listen to the entire album front to back. From what I remember on this project, a lot of the songs felt more interpersonal than what she was doing on Hades, where like she was talking about important topics, but through the lens of these like constructed personal stories on some of the stuff. Like I remember Dollhouse, and I think that's like it's talking about this mounting pressure of being within a family, of keeping up a perfect image, but and talks about like marijuana, all that sort of stuff, and I think cheating and adultery or something like that. But it's told through the lens of Crybaby, which I think is a better narrative device than what I was finding off of Hades. But yeah, I'm just curious to jump into it, if I'm being honest. Let's go. I think her vocals are better here. Like her vocals were good, but I feel like they fit better here. Those crybaby tears come out of the dark. Someone's turning the handle to the voices. I like that line. It's nice poetry. Your heart's too big for your body. It's why you won't fit inside. You pour it out where everyone can see. They call you cry baby, but you don't fucking care. Cry baby, so you laugh through your tears. Cry baby, cause you don't fucking care. Tears fall to the ground, you just let them drown. You just let them drown. Cry baby. You're all on your own and you lost all your friends. You told yourself that it's not you, it's them. You're one of a kind and no one understands. But those crybaby tears keep coming back again. Ooh, I like the, I don't know, like the wispy rasp that she has on like the Keep Coming Back Again vocal. Your heart's too big for your body. It's why you won't fit inside. You pour it out where everyone can see. They call you cry baby, but you don't fucking care. Cry baby, so you laugh through your tears. Cry baby, cause you don't fucking care. Tears fall to the ground, we'll just let them drown. Cry baby. The production is just held up quite well. I think it's helpful that it has like a decently unique like soundscape that it tries to delve into. Oh, I see like that. This part, like that's like a very unique vocal. I love it. This is quite a neat track. Hmm. I feel as Melanie Martinez gets a bad rap. Obviously, controversy aside, I'm not going to talk about that one. On Hades, seems like there's references to it. There's no references here, so who gives a fuck? For now, like obviously, but I, I feel like she gets a bad rap musically, and I find it to be, I don't know, a bit somewhat distasteful. I guess it's because I don't know. When we look at Crybaby, this track, very titular of like the character that she creates on this, and I think it's like the trilogy with the Portals trilogy and everything, um, and the melding of like her as well, because she says I and repeats herself like I just let them drown, all that sort of thing. So it's kind of like it feels like a representation of like her emotional instability, um, personified into like a world form, and I think the lack of emotional regulation that she like showcases through Crybaby is important. Like there's a reason why when I was growing up, nearly every single person that I knew that had like BPD loved Melanie Martinez. Even if they hated like because of the controversy and stuff, even if they had all of that smoke, it's like they would still listen to Melanie Martinez because when it comes to music, there is not that many artists that are as unadulterated with the showcasing of emotional dysregulation that sort of comes with like a BPD, or if there's like another realm of like friends that I've had that listen to Melanie Martinez, they're like autistic, which and they have very they get overstimulated. There's a lot of fucking emotions that are at play, and it feels like Melanie Martinez just doesn't shy away from all of that. Where I feel like she gets unfair criticism when it comes to people dissecting her music and that sort of thing, and because she plays with very heavy themes a lot of the time, and she has this baby aesthetic, that sort of thing. People mischaracterize that as like massively immature and like distasteful, but that I feel like there's a pretty decent reason why most of Melanie Martinez's fans have these issues. Like I don't know a single person that has listened to Mrs. Potato Head that doesn't have an eating disorder. Um, and I think that's important. Also, that is actually just remembering that is one track that I've heard before. Um, and I think if a bunch of people of a certain community are listening to this music and grappling with it, it feels weird to hate on it for that as being like a not tasteful interpretation of like how to convey that, because the detractors that are shitting on Melanie Martinez probably have less propensity for like BPD with emotional dysregulation disorder with this, um, probably have less likely to have an eating disorder and less likely to like be autistic, all these like neurodivergent disorders. And I feel like if you are a part of that group and you're criticizing a group that has a bunch of those people that are within it, it's best to not be as vitriolic as they seem to be. I understand that because of the ire that Melanie Martinez has, that they feel like they can do that, but I feel like it is a bit tasteless in itself, because I don't know, like think about any other situation. If you were to, if there was like music about any other like experience that someone, people would be having like marginalized or whatever, like any person that was dealing with like a mental disorder that was talking about, I don't know, schizophrenia or something like that, or talking about when it comes to, I don't know, the black experience or the gay experience or something like that. If the majority of that community is of that identity, I feel like I would be trepidatious to at least try and understand a bit why they like it, because it feels like she just gets written off. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of criticism when it comes to Melanie Martinez that stems from the fact of like, oh, okay, I can understand why you like this, or I'm going to try and find out why you like this. I'm going to say why I don't like it, if that makes sense. It feels like a lot of criticism just stems from like writing it off completely and as like poser music, the same way that like Billie Eilish was considered like fake depressed, or when like emo music of the early 2000s, being all pop punk and stuff like that. There's a reason why like a shit ton of them are fucking depressed people, but it's viewed as a lot more immature, despite the fact that like the struggles that they're dealing with are very much more real, like very much real. Yeah, I think it's just kind of cringe that way. Also, if you haven't watched one of my videos before, I do ratings on the side. These are my first listen ratings. I listen to these projects multiple times over before I post them to my Discord, but you can chat to me about my ratings. I also post them to our Album of the Year, which is the music rating website I use. It says 600 written reviews. I've done about 1,300 now. Before this channel, I basically listened to like 20 albums front to back my entire life. Bring Me the Horizon, Linkin Park, Lil Peep. That's basically all I listen to. Juice WRLD. And I started this channel to listen to like classic albums like Nirvana for the first time and that sort of thing. And yeah, you can see all my ratings over there. My average rating is a 6 out of 10. I solely think that's because I listen to more good music than bad. Because on Patreon, I have about 200 subs on Patreon, which I'm deeply appreciative for. And they give me $5 a month, and they all have the ability to request an album. They're going to request something I like more often than I dislike. And talking about that, if you want to see more Melanie Martinez videos from me, I know there's only been one song, so it's totally okay if you don't feel fully convinced to sub right now. But if you want to see more Melanie Martinez, because I have 200 subs and they all have the ability to request, I don't really have time to do anything outside of Patreon requests. So if you want to see a Melanie Martinez video and give it to the rest of the people as well, it just takes one person to sub for that. I just need one person to request, and then it's going to be done eventually. But yeah, thank you for that. And because of that, yeah, I have a 6 out of 10 average because of all of the good albums that get requested. I think spiritually I have a 5 out of 10 because I think it's a 5.1. I think it's above average. With all that being said, I'm actually going to mull over a tiny bit of like what I feel like towards this track, because I quite like it, but I just don't know how much. Listening to a tiny bit more over, pause the recording to do so, it's so hard to rate because there's actually kind of nothing that sounds like Melanie Martinez. Like there's no musical influence I can actually draw from. Like, she seems very unique in that regard with like the types of sounds that she uses. Her vocals are undoubtedly stupidly unique as well. And I like all of them. So it's hard for, like, when I listen to other music, the reason why I can rate, I feel, is like I'm able to draw upon other things I've heard and be like, okay, do I like it more or less? And I just do comparative things in my head the entire time, to try and find out how much I like it, and then figure out like why do I like it that way. When it comes to this, it's hard to do that because nothing sounds like Melanie Martinez. I love her vocals. I think it's incredibly unique. I love the concept of it. Like, there's a very strong start to the album. So I would say like 7.5 for now, but like, if I'm being honest, that could just go up quite a bit on re-listens because I just haven't, it's hard to rate Melanie Martinez. But yeah, obviously, I've listened to Dollhouse before. This was all over the radio around this time, which is neat. I think it's the only one that got radio play. Play with your dog. At the time. I don't remember any other songs being on play. A perfect family. When you walk away, it's when we really play. You don't hear me when I say, Mom, please wake up. Dad's with a slut, and your son is smoking cannabis. No one ever listens, this wallpaper glistens. Don't let them see what goes down in the kitchen. Places, places, get in your places. Throw on your dress and put on your doll faces. Everyone thinks that we're perfect. Please don't let them look through the curtains. Picture, picture, smile for the picture. Pose with your brother, won't you be a good sister? Everyone thinks that we're perfect. Please don't let them look through the curtains. D-O-L-L-H-O-U-S-E. I see things that nobody else sees. This is such a unique track. I feel like I'm going to say that the entire way through. Like, there's just, I can't think of anyone that sounds like her. Vocally, maybe a tiny bit of anyone else. She has such a unique voice. I really like her. No one ever listens, this wallpaper glistens. One day they'll see what goes down in the kitchen. Places, places, get in your places. Throw on your dress and put on your doll faces. Everyone thinks that we're perfect. Please don't let
AUSSIE. I see things that nobody else sees.
It's interesting. There's just not many parts of the song I feel dated. Like that piano kind of reminds me of like 2015, 2016 NF a bit, but I think her being so unique helps with the music aging a bit better.
Be a perfect family. Slices, slices, get in your places. Throw on your dress and put on your doll faces. Everyone thinks that we're perfect. Please don't let them look through the curtains. Picture, picture, smile for the picture. Pose with your brother, won't you be a good sister? Everyone thinks that we're perfect. Please don't let them look through the curtains. DOLLHOUSSE. I see things that nobody else sees.
Yeah, like listening to this, like compared to like other pop music from like 2015, if I went back and listened to a bit more of it, I need to. I feel like it would sound a lot more dated to the time, even if it sounds like good to me. This, I think, with the like deliberate use of a lot of like different textures of like the clock sounds and all this sort of stuff, the aesthetic and like sonic world that she builds alongside with it, I feel like because no one kind of fucking does that, and then her vocals, no one does that. It just lends itself to being more timeless when it comes to sounding. I could see this being in 2010s because I feel like production quality has gotten like better, like more clear over time, and this one is a bit hazy. But if I'm being honest, like that feels like it also fits the aesthetic of the track. I think it's also important. I spoke about it in the Hades review, that I think it's important that Melanie Martinez is as explicit as she is with her lyrics. That's not to say that like it is very blunt and it doesn't have any like poetry to it, because I feel like there are some lyrics on like Crybaby that have that. Like somebody's turning the handle to the faucet in your eyes is actually just like a really pretty lyric, and has some poetry to it. But I think it's just important that there are artists that are explicitly tackling like the stuff that they're dealing with, because even though this song is relatively benign compared to some of the stuff that I feel like she gets into with like Mrs. Potato Head, the track still is explicit with like the issues that it raises. Like it doesn't shy away from it, and I feel like it's an uncommon virtue when it comes to like modern day music for that. Like if you go back to the 90s, there is so much of the music at that time that was playing on the radio is like pretty like explicit about the issues at hand. And as much as like Hades wasn't something that like I jive with super hard, I massively appreciate any fucking artist that is actually going to like stick their neck out and say something about anything at the time. And I think that's just always something I'm going to appreciate about Melanie Martinez, even if I think sometimes it doesn't land super well. On this track, however, I think it lands fucking incredibly well. I think it's a 9. I think it's just an amazing pop song, and 11 years onwards since like the first time I heard it back when it was on the radio and stuff like that, still sounds fucking banger. So
blood still stains when the sheets are washed. Sex don't sleep when the lights are off. Kids are still depressed when you dress them up. And syrup is still syrup in a sippy cup. He's still dead when you're done with the bottle. Of course it's a corpse that you keep in the cradle. Kids are still depressed when you dress them up. Syrup is still syrup in a sippy cup.
like there's so many like textures like that cup. This is nice. Like the liquid.
Blood money. How do you afford this ring that I love, honey? Just another shift at the drug company. He doesn't think I'm that fucking dumb, does he? It doesn't matter what you pull up to your home. We know what goes on inside. You call that ass your own. We call that silicone, silly girl. We're silly boys. Blood still stains when the sheets are washed. pistol syrup in a sippy cup. He's still dead when you're done with the bottle. Of course it's a corpse that you keep in the cradle. Kids are still depressed when you dress them up. Syrup, pistol syrup in a sippy cup.
I'm trying to decipher what it's a corpse line is.
Pill diet. If they give you a new pill, then you will buy it. If they say to kill yourself, then you will try it. All the makeup in the world won't make you less insecure. You got weights in your pockets when you go to the doctors. Your favorite candy's cotton, that's why all your teeth are rotten. Silly girl. The silly boy.
I love the vocals and the production. It sounds so gorgeous.
Sex don't sleep when the lights are off. Kids are still depressed when you dress them up. And syrup is still syrup in a sippy cup. He's still dead when you're done with the bottle. Of course it's a corpse that you keep in the cradle. Kids are still depressed when you dress them up. Syrup is still syrup in a sippy cup.
I love how creative it is. Also, like, Melanie Martinez, my understanding is she doesn't have any features across her, like, catalog, and I don't know who produces these songs. I'm not sure how much in her hand she has in it, but, like, it feels like a very consistent, like, creative through line that, like, she has a massive heavy hand in absolutely everything, because everything that Melanie Martinez does feels like it just comes from her, even if there's, like, other producers and stuff like that. If I'm wrong about that, I would want to give more, like, love to some producers if they had a massive hand in the sound and that sort of thing. But, like, when I think of other, like, voice stars and stuff like that that, like, came out of there, they do the most milquetoast shit on the planet. Like, they will do a fucking Dancing with On My Own cover by Robin, and they'll make it, like, the most normal singer-songwriter song ever. Where, like, Melanie Martinez came out of here and did something, like, makes a sound that, like, no one's fucking done before. So that tends to lead me towards the fact that I feel like she has, like, full creative freedom in a way to express herself. And it comes out with, like, really unique soundscapes and, I don't know, just really unique. I love it. It's very creative. I'm going to dissect the lyrics a tiny bit more to, like, try and look up, like, look up the corpse line in the cradle, because the only thing I could have, like, a bit of a problem with, but I'm not going to even judge it too harshly because I think it's just a sign of the times, is it is very, it's very, like, preachy in a sort of way that, like, 2010s music was, because I feel like we've had so much progress when it comes to social issues that we forget how, like, necessary it was to say some of these slogans. Like, Same Love was a song in 2013 that was necessary because fucking gay marriage wasn't even legalized. And, like, kids are still depressed when you dress them up. Like, that sounds like it comes off as a bit more, like, immature now to me than what it would have been back then. But that was because back then there was, like, no one fucking knew anything about mental illness shit. Which is why there was so much safe haven when it came to, like, Tumblr and stuff like that, because it was the only place where you could find community when it comes to that. So I'm not going to judge it too harshly on that sort of thing. I'll give this an 8, and then I'll look up some of the lyrics. Reading about some of the lyrics, I kind of like the world that she's building. I didn't know that, like, I knew Crybaby was, like, a bit of a concept, but I didn't know it had so much, like, a lot more layers than it seemed to have. I thought it was just, like, a vector to be able to talk about these issues. In a way, but, like, blood still stains when the sheets are washed, sex don't sleep when the lights are off. I didn't know this was referring to her mother asleep, and then the husband isn't by her side and she's sleeping with another woman. So it's like when the lights are off and she's sleeping, he's still having sex and infidelity, which makes sense, and I like that because it does play back with the lines off of Dollhouse. And then kids are still depressed when you dress them up. That one pretty Actually, I know that also harkens back to Dollhouse, which is like we put on a perfect facade for the outside world. A syrup is still syrup when in a sippy cup. I was a tiny bit confused about that line because I'm like, I don't think fucking Crybaby themselves is drinking in a sippy cup, but it's more so like no matter how it plays off of the motif of like no matter how well you like mask, there's still like the issue is still persists underneath. You can't run away from that. And when it comes to like Mud's alcoholism sort of thing, he's still dead when you're done with the bottle. I had no idea. It's a interesting line. I don't know how I feel about it because it does feel like out of fucking nowhere to me. Maybe there's some lines from like Dollhouse that I didn't pick up on to be able to like plant the seeds a bit earlier. But like the idea that she just killed him is a wild thing to just drop out of fucking nowhere. From my perspective, out of nowhere. Like maybe there's a line before that alludes to it, but that's just crazy. Yeah. I guess this reminds me of something. Who else plays with these sort of sounds?
Round and round like a horse on a carousel. We go. Will I catch up to love? I can never tell.
Her vocals are so fucking good.
I know. Chasing after you is like a fairy tale. But I feel like I'm glued on tight to this carousel.
It shows the confidence to have it build up for so long. I wonder if it's ever going to like land the mark. Like we're nearly halfway through the song. And it just feels like there's so much momentum building up to craft.
Chasing after you is like a fairy tale. But I feel like I'm glued on tight to this carousel. This horse is too slow. We're always this close.
Her voice is just so fucking good. Like the production doesn't actually bother me. I feel like it's very hard for her song to not be good because she has such a fucking beautifully unique voice. Like it just hits deep inside in a way like no other voice does. Yeah, I love it. But you already bought a ticket and there's no turning back now. Round and round like a horse on a carousel. We go. Will I catch up to love? I can never tell. I know. Chasing after you is like a fairy tale. But I feel like I'm glued on tight to this carousel. Why did you steal my cotton candy heart? You threw it in this damn coin slot. The way that like the instrumentals and the Welsh atmosphere she's able to create being like this like distorted like proto Five Nights at Freddy's sort of like horror and thriller of like a Disney fairy tale is kind of like very interesting. Will I catch up to love? I can never tell. I know. Chasing after you is like a fairy tale. There's so much energy here that I wish just like built up to like climax. It doesn't feel like there is like that climax satisfactory like payoff, despite the fact that like everything here I enjoy. it's really interesting to me because like if it paid off really well, it would be like a song to me that's like an 8 or 9, because like the build up is like I think a great build up if you pay it off, but because I don't really feel the massive emotional catharsis of the payoff, I'm in a weird place where I feel like despite the fact that like the song These Potions, if they were a part of like a holistic track for me, would be like an 8. It feels like it's like a 6.5, 7, because it doesn't get to that point. But I love everything that's like sound here. It just doesn't feel like it fully finishes the mark. It's wild. I would say that I'll go 7. I'll go 7. A good track. If you don't, I'll pause this. But yeah, 5 is okay, 6 decent, 7 good, 8 great, 9 amazing, 10's perfect. So, ooh, I like the vocals here. Is she gonna do an alphabet thing where it's like A, B, C, D, E, F, G? Like go through with like oh, A, B, C. That's cool. D. Oh, that's sick. Oh, that's actually really sick. Huh. Oh, is she not going to do all the rest? I'm not a little kid now. Watch me get big now. Spell my name on the fridge now. With all your alphabet toys. I like the sarcastic cheekiness there. You're smarter than me now. You're the prince of the playground. Little alphabet boy. That's a very fucking like catchy melody. Apples aren't always appropriate apologies. Butterscotch and bubblegum drops are bittersweet to me. You call me a child while you keep counting all your coins. But you're not my daddy and I'm not your dolly and your dictionary's destroyed. I know my ABCs, yeah, you keep teaching me. I say fuck your degree, alphabet boy. You think you're smarter than me with all your bad poetry. Fuck all your ABCs, alphabet boy. I'm not a little kid now. Watch me get big now. Spell my name on the fridge now. With all your alphabet toys. You want the spelling bee now. But are you smarter than me now? You're the prince of the playground. Little alphabet boy. Alphabet boy. Whoa, alphabet boy. Yeah, I really like the production. I'm not a little kid now. Watch me get big now. Spell my name on the fridge now. With all your alphabet toys. You want the spelling. It's so sad that she doesn't but are you smarter than me now? Get the critical engagement of her music that she deserves. Because I feel like I don't know, like there's a lot of unique aspects there. And I feel like people get too hung up on like the window dressing of like baby sort of aesthetic sort of stuff, but like it feels like they don't engage with much like media literacy in regards to it. I would give this like a 7.5, 8. I'll give it a 7.5 for now. I saw that this was one the lowest rated song on the album, and to be fair, most of the songs are rated low when it comes to critic stuff. I find it just so lazy how people hate on it. Also, if I come across as like a bit pretentious, it probably is because I am. I don't mean to be. I try to be as open as possible. That's why I try and engage with this properly. But like, I'm in my final year of music journalism, that sort of thing. I have a bachelor in communications media studies, majoring in journalism, minoring in social studies and political science. And yeah, I engage, I guess, like quite a bit with music critics stuff, like looking it up, all that, because it just interests me. And I kind of try and give like a bit more of that sort of bend to the way that I react to some of the stuff, because I feel like, especially when it comes to like music that I feel like doesn't get it, like Melanie Martinez just doesn't get it because there's so much fucking hubbub around her, and I feel like that it's very sad. I did it the same when it comes to Lovejoy's album, because everyone just fucking doesn't care because of it's like Tumblr controversy shit, and it's annoying to me because there's such surface level critiques of this. Like every single criticism of this song, which I could probably see and deem from like all of the negative reviews on the album, is like it dons the infantilization aesthetic. But if you read anything into the fucking music, it doesn't infantilize the person. Like you can clearly see that it is donning like a satire of what Alphabet Boy is portraying as Crybaby, and I feel like it shows like a misunderstanding or an inability to be able to understand like emotional dysregulation sort of shit, to not be able to differentiate like how Crybaby is on that track, or Dollhouse or Sippy Cup, where it's very emotional and it is a bit immature, because how we deem like emotional outbursts as immature is completely different to the way that she's portrayed on here. She's not donning this on, like she's not like I'm a little, like she's not doing age play shit on this, and that's like a massive thing that she is like accused of doing. She's not doing that here. It is donning this like infantilized version of who she is from the like person that she was dating that was like ultra controlling and condescending. Like I don't think it takes a fucking genius to figure that out, but it feels like there's just people just don't want to put enough effort in to be able to dissect that. Like just because someone shows like emotional dysregulation doesn't instantly mean that they're a fucking baby. So like with Crybaby, Dollhouse, Sippy Cup, Carousel, like yeah, they're immature in like societal standards, and honestly, you probably with emotional dysregulation, you should learn to regulate that, but it's not wanting to be an adult, like a baby. It's not wanting to do that. It's also like even like age play and age regression stuff isn't that. Like a lot of the time, it isn't. I want to be a baby. It's like go like a coping mechanism, like a maladaptive coping mechanism to get back to a place where you feel like innocence and joy and that sort of thing. It's not like, I don't know, if it feels very weird, a lot of the criticisms that are placed upon it, because also like it just takes like 2 seconds to read into the lyrics, read into the music, that sort of thing, to see that that's just not what it is, and it feels like it's very lazy media criticism and literacy to hate on that, because like I don't know how you can't tell from like her vocals having like a bit of like an edge to it, like she's bitingly critiquing the perspective that she's laying out, where it's like I'm a little I can like spell my name out on the fridge now. Like there's like a bit of bitterness there, a bit of I don't know, edge there, and it's different to every other song on here, like for I'm pretty sure good reason. Yeah, I like the track. I think the production is really nice. Her vocals are really cool. Unique track, and it goes, as much as like I made all that criticisms for the media literacy sort of stuff and people hating like the aesthetic, I would say that like it does feel like it leans very hard into it, but like I respect that more than I dislike it. Like I respect sticking to your guns and going full hard into the grave decisions that you make, and being ambitious in that way, then the amount that like I feel like it goes a tiny bit. Like I feel like instead of going to 100%, it goes to like 115%. it goes like a tiny bit over, but it's like I respect it like 40% extra for the fact that it is going to stick to its guns and be as ambitious as it is. Because one thing you can't fault Melanie Martinez for is whatever her creative vision is, whatever she wants to do, she goes full fucking hard in the paint with that. She doesn't like pussyfoot around it. Oh, I like that vocal loop.
I think I just remembered something. I think I left the fart set running. Now I'm
Harken back to Cry Baby.
Darling, you're just soaking in it. But I know you'll get out.
The imagery of like being in a bathtub that you cried so much that you filled up a bathtub is a sick one.
Being careful, tiptoe, trying to keep the water warm. Let me under your skin.
Oh, the vocals.
Oh, there it goes. I said too much, it overflowed. Why do
I actually kind of love this so much.
I feel it coming on my throat. Guess I better wash my mouth out with soap. God, I wish I never spoke. Now I gotta wash my mouth out.
There's so much fucking
Feel it coming on my
cool
throat.
imagery and
Guess I
poetry.
better wash my
I love it.
mouth out with soap. God, I wish I never spoke. Now I gotta wash my mouth out with soap.
Interesting way of using the bubbles. How do you even create that sound for a song?
I think I got myself in trouble, so I'll fill the bath with bubbles. Then I'll put the towels all away. Should've never said that word, love. Threw a toaster in the bathtub. I'm sick of all the games I have to play. I'm tired of being careful, tiptoe, trying to keep the water warm. Let me under your skin.
Oh, the vocals.
Oh, there it goes. I said too much, it overflowed. Why do I always spill?
This is probably, I think, the best sounding
Guess I
track.
better wash my mouth out with soap. God, I wish I never spoke. Now I gotta wash my mouth out with soap. I feel it coming out my throat. Guess I better wash my mouth out with soap. God, I wish I never spoke. Now I gotta wash my mouth out with soap.
Is it perfect? It's close. I really love it. I just think like the imagery with like the just crying so much that you are in the bathtub, you're drowning in it, you're getting all pruny, that sort of thing. Go wash my mouth out with soap because like you spoke up for yourself, and now it's like pausing. I don't know, I like it. Like, there's just so much nice imagery. I'll at least give it a 9. I'll at least give it a 9. But like, there's so much like imagery. I'll go over in a sec. Like, I'm tired of being careful, tiptoe. I've said too much, it's overflowed. Like, what I'm picturing, and it could just not be the case, but what I'm picturing is like, crybaby crying all the time, and to the point of like the bathtub being filled up, and then that is like, that's weirdly an internal sort of struggle. Filling up the bathtub, like a contained sadness within the bathtub, and then struggling to be able to express herself, and she then gets pushed to like say something, speak up for yourself, she really wants to, and then it's overflowing the bathtub, and then uses the imagery of washing my mouth out with soap, like you said, something that's like a fucking like cuss word or something like that when you're growing up and you get your mouth washed out with soap. So like washing out like the vile sort of thing, so there's that implications that speaking up for yourself is vile in this situation. And then God, I wish I never spoke, because now it's overflowing, and now it's not just a self-contained issue of like I'm having to deal with like the body of fucking tears that I'm in. It's now overflowing, and it's affecting literally everyone else. And it's all kind of reinforcing itself, because as soon as I spoke was when I got like lambasted for it, and then my like that is causing it to overflow and affect other people, and then it's like basically put into this position where you just don't feel like you're able to express yourself or stand up for yourself without getting massive control or repercussions for it. And then like the internal shame that comes from that, was like, oh god, I wish I just never spoke. I don't know, it's just like really cool imagery. I fucking love it. Why do I always spill? Why am I wrong? When it's like, I don't know if it's you're wrong if you're like crying so much that a bathtub is full.
Riding down, my hand on your seat the whole way around. I carry band-aids.
I feel like overall it's just like a lot of distaste for Melanie Martinez comes from people unable to deal with uncomfortable media.
Touching the ground. Scared to take them off, but they're so worn out. Promise I won't push you straight to the dirt. If you promise me you'll take them off first. I love everything you do. When you call me fucking dumb for the stupid shit I do. Wanna run my back with you. Fully undressed, no training wheels.
This one is a bit weird. Because like I will say, most of the time, like with Alphabet Boy, I don't think it delves into it. This one gets a bit close to the age play sort of stuff, I think. And not just age play in like the coping mechanism, but age play in sort of like sexual fetish that's problematic. Because like the whole like the idea of like Alphabet Boy being like, oh, this is a condescending sort of portrayal of the person. That's fine. I feel like you can have that. There's a bit of bite there, but this one is a love song. So using this sort of imagery when it comes to a love song, and then being like fully undressed, no training wheels left for you, tying all of this stuff back to childhood shit feels a bit weird. Like tonally, it feels off. Well, like I feel like with Alphabet Boy, it doesn't, because it's like you can tell that it's like a biting critique. Where with this, it is sure it might be depicting like a toxic relationship or some shit, but I don't know. It's a bit icky, and I think that's not just. I think that's like somewhat through intention in a bit of a way as well. Like I don't think if I read into this more, that's going to be shaken off. Where with Alphabet Boy, the more if you read more into it, it like loses that sort of criticism that I feel like gets levied towards it. But with Training Wheels here, it doesn't. I don't know. There's like very hard to be like fully undressed, no training wheels left for you in any regard. To make that not sound way too underage. Because like there is like Crybaby, it makes sense if you want to talk about sexual experiences or whatever the fuck for this character. And I think you can even write underage characters with that sort of thing. Like look at any fucking teen show. But they're not depicting, like, Crybaby in my mind isn't a fucking 16-year-old. It's like a 6-year-old. It's in a crib. Like, it's a bouncing between, like, crib, like, early kidness, like 6 years old, and sometimes, like, 10. And I think because it bounces around these sort of, like, age things, this feels odd. Now, if canonically she's like 16 or 15 here, but she's just emotionally like repressed, age-wise, maybe. But yeah, I feel like this is like the one time where I could probably agree with like a lot of the reviews that I saw about this, where it does feel like it's like a bit too uncomfortable with its associations with sex and a fucking like what you picture as like a 4-year-old. Because like training wheels, bicycles, and shit like that.
Go, letting go, telling you things you already know. I explode, asking you where you want us to go. You've been riding to
the vocals are still nice.
It's not like I'm asking to.
Granted, this part here sounds more mature of a lyric.
I wanna make you mine, but that's hard to say.
this sort of self-reference introspection, like, is this coming off in a cheesy way? That is a more mature, like, that's an older person, so it bounces between. I don't know. I don't know if a 6-year-old would say doing fucking stupid shit. You know? I don't know. Maybe it's what I said before, where it's like uncomfortable.
When you call me fucking dumb for the stupid shit I do, wanna run my back with you.
But actually not that bad. It is uncomfortable, but I feel like it's kind of meant to be. It's still sonically nice. It's a really catchy lyric. Like, her shit's really catchy. Just like, also, I feel like particularly, and I'll pull them off for you, is an uncomfortable line, because fully undressed, no training wheels left for you. Like, fully, I know it's already said fully undressed, but it feels like just fully, like, I'm training wheels, I'm taking off my underwear. And for whatever reason, because you just did it with, like, training wheels, and that harkens back to, like, 4-year-old shit, 6-year-old shit, it's just uncomfortable. But I know it's, like, just talking about, like, I'm pulling off my training wheels, and I'm, like, going headfirst into this relationship. But I don't know, yeah. This one's, like, the one that is, like, gives me uncomfortable feelings to the point that's hard to manage, I guess, when it comes to, like, the feelings towards the art. Because, like, other things can be uncomfortable, and I can have, like, that surface level reaction, and then I can, like, think about it and, like, knock it down. When it comes to this, it's a bit harder. It's a bit more of a beast to tackle.
I love everything you do. When you call me fucking dumb for the stupid shit I do, wanna run my back with you. Fully undressed, no training wheels left for you.
I'll still say it's decent because sonically it's nice. Also, when I'm thinking about it, like, if I listen to fucking Kanye, I have to separate, like, a lot of the times, like, it's hard. It's like a fine balance, like, separate some of the messages within it. Compared to, like, the art itself. Like, that's why I think just, like, give this, like, a fucking 2. Or something like that. Because it still sounds sonically nice. It reminds me of some tracks off of Life of Pablo. Life of Pablo has some songs that have some weird fucking Jewish shit in it. And knowing where, like, Kanye would end up, it's like, oh, that feels uncomfortable. I don't know if I would go back to the song as much. In the same way that I wouldn't go back to the song as much. But, like, I can still appreciate that track. Because it sounds fucking nice. And I feel like a lot of people, when there's, like, a bad thing about a track, like, they hone in on it so much that, like, they're a bit reactive. Like, it's like, oh, I don't like this thing. It makes me a bit uncomfortable. I'm not going to listen to the song for that. Okay, I'm going to give it a 0. And it's just like, it's not a 0. Like, if I'm at this, like, sonically, all of this is fucking nice. It's just, like, a few lyrics that are repeated. That are a bit icky to me. But, like, overall, like, if it didn't have those lyrics, it would be, like, a 7. So it's like, I can only knock it down so much. And especially, like, overall, as a track, I think I like it. Even if I don't like the lyrics. Like, if this was on in the background and I wasn't thinking about the lyrics, it's like, I would like it. Quite a bit. Ooh. It sounds like Euphoria, dude. Oh, that's where I've heard some of these sounds. Sounds like a Euphoria soundtrack.
Did my invitations disappear? What I put my heart on every cursive letter. Tell me why the hell no one is here. Tell me what to do to make it all feel better.
This might be the best sounding track so far.
Yeah,
I like how much energy this has. This feels weird to have right up and training wheels. Because if this was placed after Alphabet Boy, I feel like it would make more sense.
Maybe if I knew all of them well, I wouldn't have been trapped inside this hell that holds me. Maybe if I casted out a spell, but told them decorations were in pastel ribbons. Maybe it's a cruel joke on me. Whatever.
It sounds fucking
Just
sick.
means there's way more cake for me. Forever. It's my party and I cry for one to cry for one to rock. How kind till the candles burn down this place. How kind till my pity parties in flames. It's my party and I cry for one to cry for one to rock. How kind till the candles burn down this place. How kind till my pity parties in flames. I'm laughing, I'm crying, it feels like I'm
Holy fuck, this is catchy.
I'm crying, it feels like I'm dying. I'm laughing, I'm crying, it feels like I'm dying. I'm dying. It's my party and I'm crying for
Like, if I'm being honest, this kind of feels like a perfect version of this sort of sound.
it's my party and I'm crying.
Like, if you don't just have an aversion to, like, the type of thing that she's trying to go for, this feels like... And trying to judge it on its merits, like, this feels like a perfect version of that track. Like, I feel it's weird because like I do track averages for how I do ratings. This feels like a perfect track, but it doesn't feel perfectly placed within the album because it coming after Training Wheels, I feel like it gives off a worse impression. If it came out after Alphabet Boy, that would make sense. Like, hey, you have been condescending, you've hurt me, here's the emotional side, I can cry if I want to. But coming after Training Wheels, where it's just like, I'm now ready to go fucking headfirst into this relationship. Like, it doesn't come across, like, that relationship doesn't sound super unhealthy. So, to then go like, oh, I don't know, just victimize yourself so hard to be like, I can cry as much as I fucking want. Like, it feels a bit toxic compared to if this was placed after, like, Alphabet Boy, within the album. Yeah. Granted, like, Soap kind of has that sort of effect. I just don't feel like Training Wheels has the same sort of aspect that Alphabet Boy does, where, like, there is enough as justification for that sort of emotional outburst.
Boy, you had your eye out for a little. I've cut you up to make you dinner. You've reached the end, you are the ruiner. Rolling down your tinted window, driving next to me real slow. He said, let me take you for a joyride. I got some candy for you inside. Running through the parking lot, he chased me and he wouldn't stop. Dang, you're in. Dang, dang, you're in. Grabbed my hand, pushed me down, took the words right out my mouth. Dang, you're in. Dang, dang, you're in. Can anybody hear me when I'm hitting underground? Can anybody hear me when I'm talking to myself, saying dang, you're in. Dang, dang, you're in. He's saying dang, you're in. Dang, dang, you're in. Little bit of poison in me.
I'm trying to figure out if this is consensual.
I can taste your skin in my teeth.
Let me check. Who is Smarter Child? Master producer.
He chased me and he wouldn't stop. Dang, you're in. Dang, dang, you're in. Grabbed my hand, pushed me down, took the words right out my mouth. Dang, you're in. Dang, dang, you're in. Can anybody hear me when I'm hitting underground?
about kidnapping. It kind of had that tone to it. This has a bit of that Training Wheels feel for me. Because, like, I like the vocals here a lot. But, like, this is really nice vocals. I don't know, it just... feels too specific of a trauma to be able to talk about in this regard. Despite the fact that it sounds really nice, like, where Training Wheels, I don't know. Training Wheels, like, at least had the defense of, you can read a bit into the lyrics and be like, oh, the person saying it is a bit more mature, so that it feels less fucking pedophilic. Tag You're It, it's just talking about the kidnapping, but it's not really saying anything interesting about it. Like, it's also, with the sound, it feels like, I know it's not. It's like this, you could say it's like the world building of, like, the entire thing is like, everything is dressed up in this romanticized sort of world, and like veneer, even kidnapping and all the evil shit, because like throughout all of this, it's like every negative thing is still dressed up through like the lens that it's set out on fucking Dollhouse and Sippy Cup, where it's like not every, like, the surface level isn't what you seem. This might, and like this is kind of like in a version of that, it's like this is the Sippy Cup sonically, where it's like showcasing that, like, oh, it's, this looks all innocent, that sort of thing, but underneath is kidnap. But it doesn't work as well for me on this one. Sonically it sounds fucking nice. I don't know how I feel about this one. Makes me feel a bit more icky than even Training Wheels, because if Melanie Martinez knew anyone that was kidnapped or was kidnapped herself or something like that, and like within their own input had this, I could be okay with it. But it's a very specific thing where, like, with Training Wheels, despite the fact that it plays on some of the weird feelings I was talking about before, it's talking about, like, an experience that, like, basically anyone can have. This one isn't. It's very specialized, like, trauma. Like, dealing with, like, alcoholic parents, that sort of thing. I feel like the way she does that is fine, because it's a bit more broader. But, like, kidnapping is, like, a very fucking unique evil. Like, this is a bit of a fucking stretch. But if you had this sort of, like, fun veneer, romanticized veneer to, like, a song about genocide, that would fucking be weird too. Because it's like, huh? Or, like, to a hate crime. It would be like, huh? Like, imagine this song, but, like, the lyrical content is about a lynching. It's like, that feels fucking strange. Don't do that. And kidnapping's not to the same level, but it's just like, that's getting close. Like, that's getting pretty fucking close, where it's like, don't do that. That feels a bit weird. Well, like, the other ones, you have more of a justification to be able to do that. Because it's related to, like, a more broader, like, emotional dysregulation that you can sort of have with, like, BPD or autism or some shit like this. Kidnapping's not, like, BPD related. So it just feels odd. I don't know. Sonically, it's nice. This one's, like, the hardest one. Like, I want to... Like, sonically, I also think it's probably better than Training Wheels. But the ick factor is a bit larger for me. So, I don't know. I'm very torn on this track. Extremely torn. I would say that maybe, is it decent? No, it can't be. It actually has to be, like, a lower level. Because I can't even say it's decent. Like, Training Wheels, I can say it's decent, but it's, like, it feels like it has maybe some tonal missteps. this just feels like indecent. That's an uncomfortable track.
One, two, melatonin's coming for you. 3, 4.
I got melatonin mixed with melanin. Melatonin's the thing that sleeps.
The door. 5, 6. I'm done with this. 7, 8. It's getting late. So close your eyes. Sleep for days. Hush, little baby. Drink your spoiled milk. I'm fucking crazy. Need my prescription filled. Do you like my cookies? They're made just for you. A little bit of sugar, but lots of poison too. Ashes, ashes, time to go down.
This one's about the same sort of thing.
You want me now. Can't take it anymore. Need to put you to bed. Sing you
But the focal point feels more fantastical, where Tiger felt like it was a lot more personal. So tonally this doesn't feel that off.
9, 10, never wanna see you again. 11, 12, I pull off black so well. A shit behind the curtain that I'm sick of sugar coating. Next time you're alone, think twice when you grab the phone. Ashes, ashes, time to go down.
And it also sounds nice. Like most of the tracks of it. Actually every track.
Can't take it anymore. Need to put you to bed. Sing you a lullaby when you die at the end.
Like this is at least decent. I'll give it 6.5 actually. No, I'll give it 6. I'll see how I feel with like training wheels compared to this track. I don't know which one I like more.
Tired blue boy walks my way, holding a girl's hand. That basic bitch leaves finally. Now I can't take her man.
Is this Girlfriend by Avril Lavigne?
Someone told me stay away from things that aren't yours. But was it yours if you wanted me so?
This seems so interesting. Has Melanie spoken about how like Crybaby's like a bad person or something?
She's getting on my nerves. You don't love her.
Like stealing me.
Stop
Stealing
lying
man.
with those words as if I
Let me read out the lyrics just to make sure I don't miss out.
She's getting on my nerves.
Like
You
me.
don't love her. Stop lying with those words.
Yeah, alright.
wanted me so bad.
It is just like a home record sort of thing.
She's getting on my nerves.
I think I'm fine with it depending on like
Stop lying.
if they detail about like they detail it about like if Melanie Martinez like says that the point of this story is that like you can go through so much trauma that it can turn you into a toxic sort of person, into a maladaptive behavior, so it's like that's fair. But if not, then it kind of just makes like it's a bit more of an ugly side that makes a bit harder to empathize with, you know? Even though this is born from that sort of experience.
Getting on my nerves. You don't love her. Stop lying with those words.
It's a good track though. Damn, that 3 minutes went past fucking fast. I'll say it's at least a 7.5. Maybe an 8. And then we're going to Mr. Potato Head. I remember this being like one of the 2 tracks that I listened to so much. It was Dollhouse and this one. A song with like an ending sort of. There was like fucking no media music that delved into it. Especially this blunt thing.
Pretty soon you'll be bored of it. Ha ha. Sexual. Hey girl, if you wanna feel sexual, you can always call up a professional. They stick pins in you like a vegetable. Ha ha. Kids forever, kids forever. Baby soft skin turns into leather. Don't be dramatic, it's only some plastic. No one will love you if you're unattractive. Oh, Mrs. Potato Head, tell me, is it true that pain is beauty? Does a new face come with a warranty? Will a pretty face make it better? Oh, Mr. Potato Head, tell me, how did you afford
It's kind of like the substance in music form.
this? Will you stay forever, even if our face don't stay together? Even if our face don't stay together. If you want a little more confidence, potatoes turn to french fries, yeah, it's common sense. All you need's a couple more condiments and $100,000 for some compliments. Ha ha, it's such a waste when little girls grow into their mother's face. But little girls are learning how to cut and paste and poker up their lips until they suffocate.
This is probably our best song. I don't like, I know she has other albums, but like, it feels like very difficult for her to top this.
Don't be dramatic, it's only some plastic. No one will love you if you're unattractive. Oh, Mrs. Potato Head, tell me, is it true that pain is beauty? Does a new face come with a warranty? Will a pretty face make it better? Oh, Mr. Potato
Sure, I
Head,
just woke up.
tell me, how did you afford this surgery? Do you swear you'll stay forever, even if our face don't stay together? Stay forever, even if our face don't stay together. Stay forever, even if our face don't stay together. Oh, Mrs. Potato Head, tell me, is it true that pain is beauty? Does a new face come with a warranty? Will a pretty face make it better? Oh, Mr. Potato Head, tell me, how did you afford this surgery? Do you swear you'll stay forever, even if your
Also, it's
face
like the
don't stay
perfect embodiment
together?
of like the concept that you've done for like using like these things of your childhood for the important topics. And Mr. Potato and Mr. Potato, like all that, it's like such a well fucking written, crafted song. Front to back. It's just insane.
Stay forever, even if our face don't stay together.
It straight up just depends. Like, do I want to give it a 10 or 11? If I give it a 10, then I drop this down to a 9 or a 9.5. If I give it an 11, this stays a 10. And I feel like I feel like I will drop it down. I want to be more harsh with my ratings. But yeah, this is just a perfect track. It's so close to like that 11, which by the way, is just me saying the best song of all time, like one of the best songs of all time. Like, it's not just perfect; it has like that bit of magic. This is a bit magical with how perfectly constructed it is, but I'm not sure. But yeah, it's really helpful and really good to have music that delves into these topics in the way that it does, because there's a lot of these sort of like beauty standards and stuff like that is spoken about in music, but the level of like bluntness and like uncovering of like the insidious nature of it, I feel like it's important. I feel like Miss Potato Head kind of does that, especially what I remember of the music video.
My friends don't walk, they run. Skinny dipping rabbit holes for fun. Popping balloons with guns. Getting high off helium.
That's a really good effect. Like, very smooth to do that.
Each shade from a different person said this dream is a killer. Getting drunk with a blue caterpillar.
Alright, what's the...
I'm peeling the skin off my face, 'cause I really hate being safe. The normals, they make me afraid. The crazies, they make me feel sane. I'm nuts, baby, I'm mad. The craziest friend that you've ever had. You think I'm psycho, you think I'm gone. Tell the psychiatrist something is wrong. Over the bed, entirely bonkers. You like me best when I'm off my rocker. Tell you a secret, I'm not alarmed. So what if I'm crazy? The best people are. All the best people are crazy. All the best people are. Where is my prescription? Doctor, please listen.
Oh,
My
fuck it.
brain is scattered. You give
This is
me
like another
eyes, I'll
10.
be the Mad Hatter.
Like, it's just such a perfect version of the song. I need to go back to Pity Party and see if it is as well.
That you've ever had. You think I'm psycho, you think I'm gone. Tell the psychiatrist something is wrong. Over the bed, entirely bonkers. You like me best when I'm off my rocker. Tell you a secret, I'm not alarmed. So what if I'm crazy? The best people are. You think I'm crazy? You think I'm gone? So what if I'm crazy? All the best people are. And I think you're crazy too. I know you're gone. It's probably the reason that we get along. Nuts, baby, I'm mad. The craziest friend that you've ever had. You think I'm psycho, you think I'm gone. Tell the psychiatrist something is wrong. Over the bed, entirely bonkers. You like me best when I'm off my rocker. Tell you a secret, I'm not alarmed. So what if I'm crazy? The best people are. All the best people are crazy.
I think it's a really good place to end up. I hope in the future albums she's able to like play off of this a bit more, because this feels like a pretty solid concept album of like a start to finish, like showcasing this, like delving into this character, and it feels like another album should explore how she's fucking mental and like kind of like a Joker sort of moment. Like, this feels like Joker 1. And I wouldn't mind having what people wanted for Joker 2, but I also wouldn't mind Joker 2. Like, if we do another exploration of like just more issues that she's facing, then I think that's fair, because I liked Joker 2. That was a good movie. Everyone was wrong about it. Objectively wrong about that movie. I could do a fucking dissertation on how that movie's really fucking good. With all the writing and direction, all the meanings and all that sort of stuff. Just the marketing was bad. But yeah, quite a fucking good album. There are some absolute bangers on here. And it does a really good job telling the story front to back. Yeah, I like it. I feel, I don't know, I just feel a bit gross that, like, it's hated on so much when, just because it's Melanie Martinez. When it's like, if you just read past the lyrics, there's only like 2 songs where there's like tonal things that I think are genuinely a bit off. Like everything else, it feels like people just surface level rating it. Yeah. Good fucking album. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for the support. You guys were actually fucking mental. Like, Melanie Martinez fans are insane. I appreciate it. Yeah. If you want to support further and you want me to do any Melanie Martinez, as I said at the start, I can't do anything unless at least one person requests it. It's $5. If someone requests K212 or Portals, I think it is, you can go to my Patreon. Just need one person to spend the money to request it. If you want to see more. So yeah, watching this far though is support enough. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Absolutely love you. Peace.